we're deeply saddened to hear about the news, about the most recent unfortunate news that we heard in Afghanistan and elsewhere in the world. And we send our sincere condolences to the family or to the families of the victims. Terrorism should be condemned with the strongest words, and it cannot be justified. I will try tonight to understand and analyze what drives a person to become a religious extremist. In my opinion, there are three elements: poverty, ignorance, and ideological manipulation. Poverty and ignorance, once they're combined together, they makes it easy for others to ideologically manipulate those who live under these conditions. We must understand that those who are at the upper level in the terrorist organizations are politically motivated to spread their influence across their countries by manipulating those who work with them at the lower level so they can serve their agenda. They need recruitments, they need more recruitments. And to be able to recruit more people, they need to be able to spread their ideological false beliefs. To spread those false beliefs amongst the people, they need to work under devastating conditions. They cannot work under stable conditions. And therefore, they always try to keep the country under what's called the state of chaos, where nothing is stable, everything is devastated. When there is no stability, poverty and ignorance will prevail. And that makes it easy for those who are at the upper level to ideologically manipulate those who are at the lower level and recruit them to serve their agenda. Now, how does the ideological manipulation work? In my opinion, they would come to you, you live in poverty, and you're ignorant. You don't have the right education, and you live in poverty. And they will try to provide you with easy-cut answers to all the problems. And you know what's the easy-cut answer? The easy-cut answer is that we monopolize the truth. We're the only right group. We're the only surviving group. Join us, and this will save you at the hereafter, and this will make the condition of your country better, because this way you're satisfying God. You're satisfying Allah. Join us, serve our agenda. You will satisfy God, so God will be satisfied upon us and will make our country condition better, and you will be rescued at the hereafter, because we monopolize the truth. Truth monopoly. That's what they claim. Truth monopoly. Now, to be able to recruit more people, they need, as I said, to create some sort of a state of chaos where tension and hatred are dominant factors. They cannot work when the country is stable and when everything is okay, because stability produces moderation, while devastation produces hatred and isolation and extremism. Now, to be able to counter their narrative, we need to create our own narrative. Our own narrative should be exactly the opposite of their narrative. If they claim to hold the truth and to monopolize the truth, we need to create a counter narrative that reveals their lies, and we need to clarify to the people that no one monopolizes the truth, that we all own the truth, that we all own pieces, and that we all together, with our collective efforts, once we put these pieces together, we complete the picture. No one monopolizes the truth. No one should claim that they've got it all, that they've got all pieces of the truth. Each one of us owns a piece. Once we put these pieces together, then the picture will be complete. So we, as a society that consists of many elements and many segments, need to understand that each element and each segment of our society, or within our society, owns a piece. And that diversity is enrichment. We enrich each other when we are different, and we just come together and put our differences together and we try to enrich each other. You're culturally different than me. I am culturally different than you. That motivates me to know you, and that should motivate you to know me, so you can learn about my culture, and then I can learn about your culture, and maybe I can benefit from things that you have, and I don't have it. And you can benefit from things that I do have, and you don't have it. Once we put the pieces together, we create a better picture, we create a better condition, and we create a better situation. That's the kind of counter-narrative that we need to develop to counter their narrative. Now, those people don't work alone. They do not work alone. Their ideology have roots in the history of our nation. They go back with 1,000 years or more, 1,400 years ago. This ideology, this false ideology, false premise that claims to monopolize the truth, that claims that others are wrong and we are right. This group that calls for rejection of others are not new, or is not new. It has a long history in our background. But they were always a minority. They have been always a minority. They have not held power except to certain eras in our history. But now they're back with the power and the money. They're well funded. They are well funded. And they're well planned. And they work with a specific agenda. They want to divide our region. They want to divide our region. They want to split it into even smaller pieces. They want to make us weaker. They want to keep us fighting each other, to keep us living under those devastating conditions that we are trying to get rid of. By calling to eliminate others, they claim that this is the way to God's satisfaction. By calling on the rejections of others, they claim that this is the way to God's satisfaction. Our counter-narrative should be the opposite. We should hold firm the claim that by accepting others, this is the way to God's satisfaction. By spreading tolerance, this is the way to God's satisfaction. Not by rejecting others, and not by isolating ourselves or isolating others. So developing a counter narrative to counter their narrative is an important thing. It's our mission. Otherwise, we're going to be coming here over and over again, memorizing our victims and crying for them. The blood chills will not stop in our region before we put our hands all together, all segments of the society, Christians, Jewish, Shia, Sunni, all segments, all parts, all sects in the society should work together to defeat this evil ideology. Yes, we can curse this ideology as much as we want. We can condemn their ideology as much as we want. We can condemn their action as much as we want. But we've got to act. We've got to act. We've got to take a positive action. So for the people in Afghanistan, and for the people in Iraq, and for the people in Syria, and for the people in Palestine, and for the people everywhere in the world who have been suffering from terrorism, from evil ideology, from these evil calls for isolations and rejections, we send our support and our condolences and our sympathies, and we tell them that we must put our hands together to come up with a counter-narrative, a united counter-narrative. We must be united in our war against terrorism, against their ideology. Those terrorists should be brought to justice. There is no justification or excuse for not going after them. And we should work with everybody who is going after them within our countries and communities. We should not tolerate their presence in our communities. And we should go after them, and they should be brought to justice. But on the other hand, we should not forget that it's an ideological war. There is another kind of war. There is the security war, and there is the ideological war. Ideological war is the war of thoughts. The war of thoughts are more harder to win. We can win the war of arms. We can win the war of arms. But it's hard to win the war of thoughts, because this requires collective efforts. We cannot act alone anymore. All the people with the right conscience in the world, all the peace-loving people in the world, or the people who condemn intolerance and hatred in the world, or the people who call for acceptance of others in the world, should form a coalition and put their hand together and adopt a counter-narrative to terrorists and their ideology. That was what I had to say tonight. Thanks for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.